Good morning and welcome to Act 2 with Andra and Tecia. And we
Hi
are
guys.
going to be talking about Christmas this morning because you are probably at home getting prepared for the next couple days of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. As we're
Yes.
on Wednesday,
Yeah.
which is what, 2 or 3 days before Christmas. And
Yeah. I think it's New Year's Eve. Christmas Eve is probably should be tomorrow. Let's see.
well, Christmas Day will be on Saturday and this is Wednesday. So we're,
What the
we're
heck? I was way off,
we're a
y'all.
couple of days ahead, but we are probably knee deep into preparations and
Yes.
planning and last minute gift giving if you can find what you need. But we want to stop and just take a minute, just talk about Christmas, talk about some things that we look forward to, and the things that we feel like God wants us to be preparing and anticipating,
Absolutely.
and the reason why we even have Christmas. So start with this question.
Mhm.
What is one thing that you look forward to every year at Christmas that you feel like if it didn't happen, it would just not feel like Christmas for you?
So I honestly think the biggest thing about the holidays that I look forward to the most
Mhm.
is I would have to say my broad answer for that would be family.
Okay.
But we have my aunt and uncle host a Christmas party every year. And I look forward to it. It's so fun to go to their house. It's been fun to go to their house since I
Aw.
was a little girl. I mean, they're the coolest people ever and they have the coolest kids. And they always, everything's always so festive, so perfect, so great. And so you just go there, you get to see your whole family. And we just see people that we haven't seen all year. And I love it. I look forward to it so much that last year it was canceled because
Yeah.
of COVID. And I literally broke down sobbing when I found out, like broke down sobbing. Like we were in the car and we had Haynes in the back seat, and we had Haynes actually for the first half of Christmas last year because we're a blended family for y'all who don't know. And so we were going to have him for that Christmas party, and I was so excited. And when it got canceled, I lost it in front of Haynes, in front of Ryan, in front of everybody. I just sobbed and I was like,
Yeah.
Christmas is not happening. And I was hysterical. And Ryan was like, yeah, okay, Christmas is going to happen. Calm down. And so anyway, but so the broad answer is that it's family because I love it.
Mhm.
My aunt and uncle just managed to make it extremely special. So
I love that story.
yeah, it's good. How about you?
You know, lots of things. This year is going to be very different for us trying to figure out what a new traditions.
Absolutely. Yes.
In the past, the one thing that my kids loved was bake day. And it was all the cousins would come together and we would
Yes.
it kind of morphed into the Saturday before Christmas when the kids would get out of school. And we would go to my mom's and we would have breakfast, like make
Oh.
waffles, with syrup. We would watch Elf. She
Oh.
so we had lots of syrup and candy, we would do all that. And but they would throw snowballs and we would bake white trash, which is
Oh,
like
I love
Chex
that.
Mix and M&Ms and pretzels
I
and
can eat my
white
weight
chocolate.
in that stuff.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
And I would always make what we call wedding cake icing. So it's the buttercream with the vanilla flavoring in it. And then the kids would make
Yes.
cookies and stuff. And then mom would always buy um, DVDs and wrap them up. So one for each of the kids. And we would play Dirty Santa with DVDs, which is really funny because none of our kids own a DVD player. Everything is streamed.
That's so
But they
great.
would get so competitive and they want it. They were like, oh, I love that movie. And then they would have so much fun. But at the end of the night, they would be like, okay, who wants
Who
it?
wants this? Because I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah. And so that was one of the things that I had found at mom's house, like this past year when she was sick, was a bag of all these DVDs. And I did end up taking them back. But it was funny because they got into the moment. They loved
Yes.
being together, and we would spend the night at her house. So we all just camped out and
PJ party.
it was, and it wasn't a gift giving,
Mhm.
night. It was just time to do and be together. So, we're obviously not going to have that this year, but, I know this, it's the being together. It's the
Mhm.
time. And I think I've come to really appreciate Thanksgiving in that way too. because we've always loved the gifts, but just the time to sit around and talk,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
especially when you don't know who may not be there next year,
Right. Right.
to really stoke that up. So yeah, I hear you on that.
Yeah.
Um, and I think Christmas is going to look very different again this year for most people.
I do too.
With COVID still there, but been lots of people have lost a lot of loved ones, and it just looks differently. And then you have to create new traditions and new
Yes.
things, and that's not bad. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's not bad.
That's a good way to put
It's
it.
hard.
It's hard. It's not a bad
Mhm.
thing. Making new
Mhm.
traditions is not bad. It's just hard.
It is hard. My sister was like, I just want everybody at my house. Just come. I don't want anybody rushing. I just want us to sit and just hang
Mhm.
out. And I was like, perfect. Like
Yeah.
that just sounds glorious. So to
Yeah.
be able to be together. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, it makes me think of, going into more of a spiritual side of it. Like I love our candlelight service at our church.
Oh.
We've always done that. I love it. It just kind of sets it. And then we go to Waffle House. Us and our kids. We go to
All dressed up in your
all dressed
Christmas
up
best.
and go to Waffle
Just go,
House.
hey,
And then we go home and we
there's nothing wrong with Waffle House. I love it.
so that's kind of our thing.
That's
Is
a great tradition.
with my kids. We do that. They get so disappointed. So and then now this year we have my son's married, and so we have in-laws to incorporate.
Right.
And they're all going to be here together for Thanksgiving. I don't know about Christmas, but you want to respect that and give them time together, which also alters how we do it. So yeah, it's a little uncharted territory.
Right.
Ways to incorporate, extended family, and
Yeah.
it's just
It's
different. It's good.
New
But
and different.
New and different, yeah. But all this, we're talking about these things that we expect, things that make it feel like Christmas, makes me really think about the Christmas story.
Yeah.
One of my most favorite decorations in my house is my manger scene.
Oh, me too. I love mine.
I love it. It was given to us by my brother-in-law when we got married. And because I always look at each one of them and wonder, what was their individual story like?
Right.
What was going on in their life?
Right.
Most manger scenes will have Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus, and you've got the angels, and you have the shepherd, and then you have the wise men. And my dad, growing up, he would see the manger scene and he would go take the wise men and he would pull them far, far away because he's like, they were not there.
Oh my gosh, my daughter does the same thing every year.
I love it because they weren't there.
No,
they weren't there. We've kind of created what we want our picture to
Right.
look like, right?
She gets really irritated because I just want them there. I'm like, look, I know they weren't there, but for my aesthetic, I want them to be there. And she's like, no, they gotta go over here.
I know.
Like,
And I'm big on symmetry. So we've got the shepherds on one side. You got to have the wise men to
Right.
balance it out,
Thank
right?
you.
Okay. But so I do think about their stories though. And Joseph, we talk about Mary a lot at Christmas, obviously. We talk about Jesus and the birth of
Yes.
God becoming flesh.
Talk about the angels,
Just
shepherds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But there's one person that I feel like always is forgotten or in the background, and that's Joseph. And Joseph has someone who is really intrigues me, because he gave up a lot and he lived a very faith-filled life.
Yes.
To follow in obedience of what the angel and God asked of him.
Yes.
And he's just kind of the silent character in our stories. And I cannot wait to talk to him one day to say, what was it like, first of all, as a man in a very patriarchal society,
right?
Who you're, as a woman, you were to give birth because they were to carry on the family line,
right?
To be given this young bride, and to raise someone else's child,
right?
He was going to be, in essence, his stepfather.
Right.
Right. And he was going to have to help to raise this, first of all, to protect his bride, who's carrying a child that's not his, and then to raise this child. And just the humility that it had to have taken from Joseph to be like, yes, Lord, I won't divorce her. I won't, put her in a situation to be stoned to death. I will quietly marry her and I will protect Mary. That he was able to, put her in a place where she could comfortably have this baby, and then to flee in the middle of the night to Nazareth, to protect her. He had to have had such a close walk with God,
right?
To be obedient.
He was risking his life and his family for a child that wasn't even his,
right?
And yeah,
I mean, if an angel appeared to me, I would like to think
Right, me
that
too.
it might change a little bit, but
Right.
I'm not so sure that we haven't already been in those situations and just ignored it ourselves.
Well, right. And not only that, but I mean, I think with any moment where you have like a true God moment where God meets you somewhere, and then later, as you get further away from it, you start questioning things. You start, oh, was it really that? Was it this? Was it that? And so the
Mhm.
fact that he was able to hold to that mission and hold to what the angel told him is huge.
So true. So true. You know, Jesus' name is Emmanuel, which means God with us.
Mhm.
And exactly what he said. Like he is with us. And Joseph got the honor to walk alongside his life, to train
Right.
him, to grow him, teach him how to become a
I
carpenter.
know.
I wonder what it was like. We were talking about this a minute ago, to raise a child that never got in trouble,
I know.
that never sinned. I mean, there's obviously times you have to teach and learn because he was fully human and fully God at the same time.
Right.
He grew in wisdom and stature and favor with God and man. So there were things, Jesus, because being fully human, he had to learn,
Right. Just like you teach a child not to put their hand on the stove, like you
Right.
have to redirect children.
Right. You learn to crawl, you learn to walk, you
Right.
learn to run. Like he did go through all that so that he could relate to us.
Yes.
I wonder what it was like for Joseph. And just sometimes how we can feel like we are the silent person in our own story,
Right.
but yet Joseph was such an integral part of that story, that he helped bring forth Jesus into it
Right.
because he protected Mary. He chose to raise him. Um, just how beautiful his foundation, his stability, his obedience and surrender was.
Absolutely.
And I think there's sometimes we can feel like we're the Joseph in our own story.
Absolutely.
Everybody else has the highlight, everybody has a purpose. And we're just the silent character in the back that everybody's forgotten about.
Yes, I agree. And I think that can, especially even though we're talking about a male, I think that can really apply to women, especially this time of
Mhm.
year.
Mhm.
You are in the background because you're in the background trying to make everything, merry and bright, teach them
Right.
about Jesus and teach them about the Christmas story and what that looks like. And, you're having to wear a lot of hats.
Mhm.
And sometimes those hats are not acknowledged. And I could see how, like you said, like if you feel like, and then, I mean, don't get me started. Like, I feel like I talk about this all the time. Don't get me started about social media, because then you see everyone else's
Mhm.
perfect
Right.
life. Like
Right.
they have the, twinkling underneath the stars pictures for their cards. And it's wonderful. And those are great things. And I'm not saying that that's bad, but I'm just saying like, comparison is the thief of joy. I know we say that all the time, but
Mhm.
you can feel like, wow, I'm not even being seen. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah. And
Or you're telling your spouse, make sure you tell the kids to get me something for Christmas. Right?
look,
I
this is what I want. Just go get it.
Go get
Just
it. Get
have
it
the
under the tree.
experience. Right.
I'll wrap
Exactly.
it for you.
Yes. Yes. And
My
so,
family's great. But I mean, yes, the feeling unseen, the feeling like the one who does
yeah.
behind the work,
Yeah.
and the story, even Mary Martha is like that, where Mary's
Right.
sitting at Jesus' feet and she's soaking up his presence. And Martha's like, does nobody see what all I'm doing?
Right.
And we didn't see that side of Joseph. He was
No.
very humble, very surrendered. But just what an important role he played. And I think that's just such an encouragement for us. Um, we're all humanity, that, we don't have to be in the spotlight for our life to be of huge value and significance and influence. Joseph's influence was monumental.
Yes. And it's also, I mean, it's also to say that your life does not have to look or be going in a certain direction. Like we talk about, second acts all the time around here. Like you could be going through something that's a complete shift. Your life does not look the way you thought. Because let me tell you, Joseph did not think this was going to be his life when he asked Mary to marry him,
Right.
and
Right.
his life went in a different direction, and God honored that. And Joseph stepped up and did it.
He did. He did. He didn't question. Or if
No.
he did, the Bible doesn't tell us that. But yeah, he's just a pretty amazing person
Yeah.
in a scenario that looked very different from how he planned.
Right. And I mean, also, we kind of touched on this earlier when we were talking that, what does that mean for us as far as how do we apply that to ourselves? Like, we can be the Joseph in someone's life. You don't have to be in the middle of the pictures, but you just show up for someone, I mean, be it a friend, be it an employee that maybe doesn't have a great relationship with their parents, you can be that person in their life that steps in and, kind of like a step parent just kind of steps in and says, okay, this is what God has placed in my path, and I'm going to honor him and do, whatever God lays on your heart.
Yeah. I think that's true in any of our relationships where you can step in.
I agree.
Whether it's as parents that we're looking for our child's friend who doesn't really have a good family life.
Right.
We could step in and incorporate them into our traditions and the things that we do to see Christ. And with our friends, you look for somebody we always tell my daughter, if you want to make sure that you're never alone, you seek out the person that looks alone.
Right.
And you be the friend.
Exactly.
And that way you'll never be alone because there's always somebody who needs a friend. And that is one way we can, at Christmas time, people's like, what are y'all going to do? Well, I don't know. But first thing I'm going to do is to make sure that I don't have somebody in my circle who is sitting home alone.
Right. Exactly.
And so that's what my prayer is right now. It's got to open my eyes to see the things that I would not have seen past what my desires are.
Yes. Yes. That's so true. That's huge.
Well, you hadn't answered that yet, but I'm listening.
It's okay. It's not even Thanksgiving yet, so you're fine.
I'm okay, good. Well, it is. As you're listening to this, it's after Thanksgiving. But
sorry. Yes,
we are recording early. But yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to listen. And I think that was the thing that was so powerful about Joseph is that he was intentional and he did listen.
He did.
I think that's our prayer for us individually, you, me, and our listeners this year is that, Lord, let us be intentional and let us hear.
Yes.
You are Emmanuel. You are God with us. Let us live our lives in a way that honors you, that incorporates you, and that
carries out your purpose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let the noise of the world be silenced.
Yes. Yes.
There's a lot of noise out there right now.
There really is. There really is a lot. And, I mean, when you say that and that prayer is so intense, but sorry, I realized for those of you who are just listening, I was off camera, but
we float in and out.
I pulled myself back in.
You can go to YouTube if you want to see the craziness.
But we, and now I lost my train of thought, but it's okay. It's all right. It's okay. Whatever. Anyway,
so to Christmas in a couple days.
Yeah.
That is our prayer. Everybody seek the Christ child.
Yes. And also, can I just touch on traditions really quick, just one more time?
Please.
Okay. Like, I just want to say this. There are going to be people who are listening to this who have 1,000 gifts under their trees, and there's going to be some who are struggling just to make ends meet. And that's okay, because I've been in both places. And like, this is really near and dear to my heart when I say this, that when I was just flat out broke and my child was little, and I just struggled so hard watching people on Facebook and places like that go and do all these great things. And I just struggled so much because I wanted those memories for my child. And what I've realized is, y'all, it does not matter what you do for your babies. Watch a movie, pop on Elf and do popcorn in your pajamas. Sorry. They're going to look at that, and y'all, they're going to remember that the rest of their lives. And they're going to say, they're going to be just as excited to do that. Our children want time with us, and they don't need the flashy Facebook. Sorry, y'all, I'm on my soapbox. They don't need all of that. Y'all, just, if you're struggling to say, what traditions can I do? What can I do? Read the Bible every night with your children. Like, go through the story, and they will grow up and they will do that with their children. And it will be something that they are so excited. And, oh, Mom, do you remember when we used to do this? Do you remember, just consistency, do it and make it a tradition. Be it be watching Charlie Brown Christmas. I mean, it just,
Right.
do it and
Mhm.
teach them about the Christmas story. Let them understand it's more than just what everybody else in this world is
Mhm.
telling us Christmas is about. And those traditions will become gold to them.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
No,
That's
that is so true. One of my favorite childhood memories was after the Christmas Eve service, we would drive to my grandmother's house, my dad's mom's house,
Mhm.
and she always made this chocolate devil's food cake with the 7-minute white icing all over it.
Yes.
And that was Jesus' birthday cake. And so after dinner, nobody could touch it until all the
Yes.
kids gathered around, and she would tell and share the Luke story of Jesus' birth.
Yes.
And then we would sing happy birthday to Jesus. And I tried really hard to continue that tradition with my own kids.
Mhm.
I did a good job for several years.
Right.
And then I got swept into the hustle and bustle, and
Right.
I just ran out of time
Yeah, it
And
happens.
because I didn't make it a priority.
Yeah.
And I think, and that's one of the points that you just made was just be consistent,
Mhm.
whatever it is you do, because the kids look forward to the consistency of looking
Yes.
forward. We did this last year. We're going to do this year.
Yes.
It becomes a part of who they are.
Yes.
So yes, you
So-
convicted me. We will be having a birthday cake this year.
Well, it's just
So thanks for that reminder.
That's a great, and that's a great
Mhm.
tradition to have. Like I've never done that either. So trust me, it's like wah, 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 for me too. But like that's
Well,
great.
all of us have things that we start and,
We
and
do.
don't continue.
We do.
And that's a
We do.
good just to take
excuse me.
survey. And thank you
Yes.
for that.
Yes.
Because it is about being together, about recognizing the whole purpose of Christmas
Yeah.
and not letting the commercialism
Yes.
of it take over. Because
And just know that it doesn't have to be big. It's just those small moments with your
Mhm.
babies. It's just the small moments. And if your babies are in their teens, that's fine too. Start the tradition then, because
yeah.
they don't care. They just want time with you. They want time. So anyway.
Yeah. So with that, Merry Christmas, everybody.
I feel sorry. I'm laughing. I'm so sorry because that was like ridiculous. I'm so sorry. Like
No, it was beautiful. It was
Oh,
very
you're so
real and
sweet.
raw. And
Okay.
I think we're a reminder that we all need to hear. So people show up.
Mhm.
Show
Yeah.
up. Jesus showed up.
Yes, he did.
Emmanuel, God with us.
Yes.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas.
May God bless you all. See you later.